today. So every day we start fresh because we can't affect the past, but we damn sure can make a difference today.
Welcome to episode 35 of Shop Talk. It's Jennifer
and Carrie,
and we're back with a recap of 411. This episode was a really nice change of pace compared to the other episodes that we've seen, like the past few ones. They split up the three storylines like really nicely, and we really, they focused like a lot on the partnerships and just like being out in the field. But we also got a nice ending to the Bailey and Jason of it all without like a 15-minute drawn out fight, which was nice. It was more like a 2-second fight, wouldn't you say?
I literally, like, when I was doing my notes, I like went back and like slow-moed it so I could see like the time span. It was like a literal minute from like when Nolan started chasing him to when he got arrested. So
yeah, like Jason might be a smart guy, but yeah, that fight scene didn't really happen. So, but yeah, before we get into the episode, we have to talk about that promo because, in the words of Janice from Friends, oh my God, it was good. Mm-hmm. So first, there's a mini hiatus. The rookie is like off air for a week. But we did get the promo for 412 to like keep us guessing and keep us on our toes until January 23rd. So, what were your thoughts on the promo?
Well, just like Nyla like is glowing, so that's exciting to see. But then I just still couldn't get over the like Chenford clip. So I just like, I don't know, because like, not that I mind that they're sitting next to each other, but like, if I'm on a date with someone, unless the tables are set up like I have to sit across from them, I'm sitting next to them.
Really?
I don't know. It's just me though.
See, I saw people saying like, why aren't like Tim and Ashley sitting next to each other? And like for me, when I've went on dates, like I always have to sit across from the person. Like even like when I'm out to dinner with like my mom or something, like we have to sit across from each other, or I do at least so that I can like talk, because I don't like to sit next to someone. But
I don't know. I guess I just, yeah, if it's just a 2-person thing, then yeah, I prefer to sit across from someone. If it's like a group thing though,
right, it depends.
I just
on
thought
like
it would
who
make
you're
sense.
Yeah,
I just thought it would make sense to put Tim next to Ashley and Lucy next to Chris.
I don't know. Then when I was watching it again today, because like I am in Chenford brain rot mode, I was like, well, maybe Tim and Lucy are like, gonna like mess with each other underneath the table and like, hold hands, or like she'll slap them or something. Like, I don't know. I was like, come on, there's got to be a reason why they're sitting next to each other. And then I was also like, the last time that Lucy went on a date that Tim like pseudo set up was the one with Caleb. So, and we all know how that turned out. So like, is he feeling like protective of her in some way? And like, maybe that's why they're having to sit next to each other. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. Or maybe it was just for like the promo's sake. Like, I don't want them to move though, like I don't want them to like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and then I think it was our friend Nikki. She had like noticed in the promo that like Tim's shirt looks like it's like been messed with a little bit, like at the collar. And she's like, I need them to go to the bathroom and like have a makeout session or something. Like, I just know that like for the next 2 weeks, the rookie fandom is like gonna go like hardcore with this promo. And like, I'm all here for it. January 23rd is reserved for the Chenford clowns.
Yeah, that was like your best tweet.
Yeah. Like, I'm preparing myself right now to totally be clowned.
Yeah, I don't know. But just like back to Nyla though, because she was so happy, and she's like, it's the worst thing, but she has this like perma smile on, and it's fantastic because you get to see Makia's lovely smile, but just like it's so funny because it's like Nyla who's
so different from that.
Yeah.
like it's almost like it's out of character for her, but like it's in such a good way that it's like you can't hate it. Well, I loved how she was like, it's the pregnancy hormones are making me cheerful and I hate it. I was like, oh my God, she hates every bit of this.
Yeah.
I mean, I just like, so Tim had said when he was on the phone or whatever, like, you know, because he set up Lucy and Chris, he's like, Lucy needs a date for a fancy dinner. And it did look like they were dressed up and stuff. I need to know what dinner they're going to that's fancy and that both of them have to go to. Like, is it
like, where's
something?
everyone else? Like,
Is it something for like the union rep campaign?
Yeah.
Or like, is the whole team gonna be there? I mean, like, I just need to know.
Right.
But then yeah, like Tim setting up with Lucy, setting Chris up with Lucy, like the chaos that will ensue. And then I noticed in the promo, and I think like my second watch, like Chris like gives Tim a pointed look or something. And I'm just like, what did Sergeant Bradford say that made him give him this look?
Yeah, I just like, I don't know, because there's so many little things that like could be, because they do know each other better than I'm sure their respective like dates do.
Yeah.
So it's got to be a little bit awkward because like you know, dates you're supposed to like get to know or continue to get to know a person, so it's got to be a little weird to be like out with people that know each other so well already.
Well, and especially because like, so this is Chris and Lucy's first date and it's a double date to boot. So like usually your first date is like when you're really trying to get to know someone, but like it's not just them. So
right. So I just want to know how they get roped into this and why Tim feels like, is it just like an event for Tim, but he's like, oh shit, I don't want to go to it. Like, so he needs like someone else to go with him just as like a friend. And Ashley's, you know, doesn't exactly understand why he's not wanting to go, or is it just something for the, I don't know, that they would both just have to go to?
Yeah. Well, like,
I want to know.
Last week, Janine, one of our listeners, had like asked Eric a question on his cameo, like in the chat. And she had said, like, does Tim get to meet Chris? And does he think he'll be good for Lucy? And Eric responded and said, Tim has met him before, but not sure how he fully feels yet. So I'm assuming after this date, he's really going to like figure it out. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, let's hope. I don't know.
Like, we have 2 weeks to form thoughts and headcanons. And what are they going to order for dinner? Like, I need to know everything. So,
yeah, I don't know if it would be like a veggie burger and fries. And of course, I mean,
it doesn't look like it would be. It looks very fancy.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
I mean, Tim in that like collared shirt, chef's kiss.
Lucy's bold lipstick, I approve.
Yes. I mean, I think I saw someone say, like, I just know that when Tim Lucy, like, his jaw is just gonna drop. And he'll just like realize right then and there or something that like he likes her. I'm like, well, if only we could be that lucky. I mean, we might be, who knows?
Never know. Eric could throw in another look just for fun because, you know, he does that.
I'm manifesting that right now. It's already been filmed, but I'm manifesting it.
Yeah. Never know. They always kind of surprise us with Chenford lately. So
yeah.
We'll see.
And like, we don't have an episode description yet, but like, I hope that it comes out soon, like soon, because I need to see what it says.
Yep.
But oh yeah, and then Eric and Rosalind have a new podcast episode that dropped today. I got excited because it's Constance Marie from George Lopez and the Fosters and all that. So yeah. But be sure to check that out. And now we'll just jump right into the episode.
Yep. So it literally, like, the episode like opened and ended with Nolan and Bailey. The opening scene was with Wesley, though, which was kind of cool. I liked that he explained things clearly, because he's confident he could get Bailey like a treatment program and probation if she took the plea deal, but she'd still have a drug charge on her record, which would mean she'd be out of the Army Reserve and most likely off the LAFD. And if Bailey fought the charge and lost, she would be facing jail time. So it's kind of a like no-win situation. Even though John is like, there's a third option, they could, try to fight it and like figure out how Jason pulled it off in the first place, and try to catch him. So they're kind of going with that third option because the next time we see John anyway, is with Angela and Sergeant Gray. And I enjoyed that Gray was like the one that was authorizing John's vacation, just because like only Nolan would need time off to go survey his girlfriend's current ex-con husband. And I don't know, it's just like, it was the scene, well, part of the scene anyway was shown in the like promo because, John has to choose between the woman he loves and his career. If like they can't, prove that Jason did something, and Bailey would admit fault to the drug charge. Because as Wes said earlier, the LAPD frowns upon officers fraternizing with felons. So even like John and Bailey dating still would be like a, liability, and would kind of hold him back. So I did enjoy seeing Oscar again. His banter with John and Bailey was absolutely hilarious. And like just Bailey saying that she's been told that Oscar's good at getting into the heads of like sociopathic narcissists. And he's like, yep, guilty as charged, literally. And I'm like, okay, that's fun. And I liked John's response because Oscar is, very much like, well, what am I going to get out of it if I help you guys this time? Mm-hmm. And John's like, well, let's see. Today, I will rip up yesterday's letter. Like, that's his response. And I just thought that was a good one-liner there. Oscar was very helpful, though, to like kind of, at least from the point of view of like us as fans, to like know how Jason may have gotten his hands on those drugs, because I was over here wondering, like, I was like, how the heck did Jason, because like they had mentioned he was in jail for an embezzlement charge, again, which was nice. I needed that refresher because I think I said that last week, but I wasn't 100% sure because it just didn't make any sense to me how he would get his hands on drugs. If that's not even something he was involved in like previously. But anyway, Oscar had said that he probably got them through someone in prison. And apparently there's a whole program called like Nightingales. And it's like women who would help rehabilitate people in jail by giving them money. And Oscar said that Jason's probably conned a dozen or so women. And that's how Bailey and Nolan get the idea to sort through Jason's mail. And they're going through everything. Poor Bailey, I felt bad for her because she's slowly realizing that like everything, like all the tactics that Jason had used on her were like not unique. Like he was using the same lines on other women as well. But they eventually find a woman named Evelyn Reed, and she and Jason were like frequently communicating through the mail, and they seem to really have this like rapport built up. And so they go to her house and like confront her about Jason. At first, Evelyn's like doesn't believe them at all. But like Jenna's performance in this scene though, just about how manipulative Jason was to her, and like how she like felt so horrible when she was with him, was like she just knocked it out of the park on like the emotional range that was required for this scene, in my opinion. And so bravo to her. So it really, like, Bailey's story really turned Evelyn's mind around, and so she was able to see, oh, okay, Jason has been lying, he's been, you know, not this good guy that I thought he was. And so that's how Evelyn's like, essentially, yeah, you're gonna go now, like, because Jason comes home. And I thought that was like all too easy, because I thought he was gonna like try to run right then or something, and they would have to like chase him, or I don't know. I don't really know exactly what I thought. But it was interesting to see that when Evelyn was like, you're gonna go, you can't take any of this stuff with you because I paid for it. And then like the camera stayed on Jason's face, and the eerie music happened when he walked out and said that he was gonna have John's badge before, you know, they could get everything figured out. So I don't know. I was just always interested to see like how actors are alongside their like real life partners, because like Jenna's character was not in, I mean, like, okay, Steve's character was in a relationship with someone else, but like still interacting with Jenna's character, you know? So it's just like, I don't know how they play this dynamic. Like, I don't know how you like separate the two or something. I don't know. I'm just always curious about that stuff.
That's where I don't think I could like be an actor or anything, because I would have a very hard time trying to separate things.
Yeah, well, because it's just so like, I don't know, because it's just like, you know, you use like you know, like pet names or whatever, you know, for people, and it's just like awkward. Like, I don't know. It's all just kind of, I'm always kind of curious about that. But anyway, yeah, so Jason is gone for now. So they kind of Bailey and John anyway go back to the station. I liked seeing Sergeant Gray with them. More screen time for Richard, please, and thank you.
And with more of the like pairings, please.
Yeah, definitely. Because one of the items that Evelyn didn't let Jason take from her apartment was the laptop. And so they found a money laundering operation on Jason's computer, but they don't know who he's working for yet. But John's like, well, he's got to move the money eventually, because whoever he's working for is going to expect results. And oh my gosh, just John and Oscar talking on the phone again. I can't deal with them. Like, what in the world? And just the movie references I adored as a film buff myself. But like, okay, so they have the arrest warrant ready to go. They just have to find Jason first. So like, my question is though, why didn't they just keep tailing him when he left Evelyn's house? Like,
it would have been too obvious then.
I guess. Nothing's ever easy. That's fine. So like John's kind of asking like, well, what do you think Jason's next move is? And Oscar's like, well, he would turn himself in. And then bam, like Jason turned back up at the Mid-Wilshire station in cuffs. Like, okay, Oscar is
psychic now, apparently.
Yeah, apparently, exactly. And so, well, I know you'll get into the mention of Chris's not nickname, but just the fact that like he's called a clown. But like, why is Chris the one doing the reading of like Jason's terms in the next scene?
I thought that too.
Is it just because Wesley's been suspended, so he's like the new go-to? Like, what about Del Monte? Could they just not get Michael Trucco back or something? I don't know.
I thought that too. And then I was like, but even when Wesley was a lawyer, like he didn't do that for them. I was like, wait, so now is Chris on the district side? Like, I don't know. I mean, I guess he's a district ADA or whatever, but like,
Right.
I don't know. It seems like him and Lucy have been like going head to head. So
Right.
I was confused by that.
Yeah, because like I wrote in here, I'm like, I don't absolutely hate Chris Sanford, but then I was like, but actually I kind of do hate him because he has yet to still completely apologize for being a total asshat to Lucy. So
yeah,
not a fan. Not a fan.
Like them at the end of the episode, like, oh my god, please. I kind of ship it.
But just like, okay, so but the point of Chris being in this scene is that he's running down the list of things like that Jason would agree to do. So if Jason admits to living at a different address than the one he registered with his parole, which was he was living at Evelyn's house, so it was like not the address he registered originally. If he admits to laundering money for Southern Front and for planting drugs in Bailey's car, and if he cooperates and helps them with the Southern Front investigation, then he gets 18 months in prison. I'm kind of with Bailey on this because she's like, are you kidding me? Like, what? Because he did make her life a living hell, and it's like, that's all he gets. But I mean, it is better than nothing. But just like the Southern Front mention hurt me a little because that was the gang that targeted Nolan in season 1, and like that was the gang that essentially got Zoe killed. Like, and that gang is still like active in LA. Like, what?
Oh my god, I didn't put the 2 and 2 together.
What? Like, why? I don't.
The Rookie is really good with callbacks and like parallels.
Yeah, that hurt me a little. Yeah, well, because I had just recently, a few weeks ago, rewatched that episode for like the 5th time, and so it's just in my head.
Yeah.
And just like Gray, I guess, was sitting in the meeting too, because he was like, if you do anything to like violate this agreement, like it's like we're done. And just his do you understand at the end of that statement was like chilling. I was like, great job, Gray. Because he's like sticking up for Nolan. Like that's like interesting to see. Like, I don't know, it's nice to see, but just interesting given their history. Like they've come a long way though.
Yeah.
And just like I liked that there was another Gray and John scene. Really only because Gray was like sassy, and it like made me chuckle because he was like, talk to Officer Nolan again and I'll pull your deal. Like he's so done with this. And I was glad they had Jason go over the plan again because I was curious as to what exactly it was going to be. Jason's going to get the gang to turn over the money. He will like confirm that it'll go to their usual accounts, and then the LAPD will swoop in and save the day. In addition to hearing everything, they'll see it too. They have a surveillance camera set up. I also enjoyed the mini like Nolan Harper communication when she was like 7 out of 19 copy, because I missed them working together in this episode.
Yes. I know we either get Nolan and her working together or Nyla and Aaron working together. Like it can't be like the 3 of them working together.
Yeah, that would be an interesting trio though. For sure. And so they're like Gray and Nolan are sitting in the car, like Jason's gotten out. And Oscar calls again. And he's like, and John answers the phone. He's like, it's not a good time right now. And he's like, yeah, but you're going to want to hear this. Because literally, oh my God, just, and Oscar's trying to like explain himself. And John's just like cut to the chase. And he's like, oh, fine, you'll ruin my story though. But essentially, Oscar like got in touch with the Southern Front gang and essentially ratted Jason out. And so instead of having a hit out on Oscar, the Southern Front gang now has a hit out on Jason. Like, and John's just like, oh, that's not good. Because he like literally is like, okay, I'm gonna toss the phone down, run out. They gotta go and like intercept Jason, or try to anyway.
Like Oscar did it to help John, but he also did it to just like benefit himself.
Right, because
time.
then if the gang's not gonna try to kill him now, they're gonna try to kill
Mhm.
someone else. Like that's okay. And I liked that John like handed Gray his vest, but like neither put them on like on screen. So gotta love that TV magic.
Yes.
I'm assuming they used like the airsoft guns and like post production put in the muzzle flashes, but it was still cool to see an action scene with the shootout that happened. Not gonna lie though, I was glad the like chase quote unquote and the fight quote unquote scene lasted under a minute. They had a lot of shorter shots, like camera shots of Nolan and Jason running through the tunnel and like up the hill and whatnot, which was like refreshing to see. But then also I kind of felt like it would make more sense for them to follow through like as they're going through these various trains, as opposed to like the warehouse that we saw earlier in the season. That was like one solitary building, and yet we had a 15-minute scene of the the two injured men hobbling through the warehouse. Like I don't know, maybe that's just me. Like I don't know, because like outdoor shots are kind of cool and like scenic, and I don't know. But anyway, Jason went down after attempting to throw one punch, and Nolan basically just like grabbed him and put him down on the ground. That was entertaining, because prior to that quick takedown happening, Jason was like, I'm gonna like add kicking your ass to my list of charges, and he tried and failed miserably. So so Jason is finally in custody, and like listen, I like Bailey and John, but like oh my god, like the end scene for Nyla and James would have been, in my opinion, like more worth it to end on, just because of like Mikia's acting when her voice caught on the like end of her statement, and like James's response, and just I don't know, it just would have been a lovely scene to end on. But I understand the desire to wrap up the Bailey and John storyline. And so they're back at Nolan's apartment, having some wine. They're cheersing to moving on. I think John was like, cheers to finally being able to exhale, I think is what he said. I'm not sure. I had to rewatch it back a few times, honestly. I could not figure out. So hopefully I'm correct on that.
Well, and then he was like, unless you have like another ex-husband like in the woodwork or whatever. And I was like, dude, just
take the win.
Take the win and just enjoy the night.
Because Jason's going to be behind bars for 8 years, apparently. Bailey's divorce hearing is set for next month, and whenever her future ex-husband does get out of jail, they'll get a restraining order. So hopefully that's the last we see of Jason.
But like Bailey is also, so Jenna Dewan is a regular like a cast member now, so like they're still gonna have her as a part of the show, obviously. So like maybe because like they break up the seasons by like 4A 4B, so like this is just them finishing out 4A, and then like 4B is gonna be the other storyline. So I don't know, maybe we'll just have like Jenna or Bailey and John like in the background. I don't know.
Yeah, it would be nice if they could have a normal date. Would be the first thing on my list of things that I'd like to see for them, but that's just me.
I could also see Bailey like moving in with John because she feels like unsafe, and she like can't go back to her place or something.
Yeah. So, but that was it for Bailey and John.
Yeah. I did like how the episode was spaced out, like in balance evenly. I did feel like there was a little bit more emphasis though on Balin, but it could have just been because they were like wrapping up that storyline. So yeah. But next we have Chenford, because they're just adorable. The Chenford and Tamara storyline, like, oh my God, I was in my feels. So I'm still not over the fact that Lucy and I have like the exact same laptop case. Like, I love it, and I will never stop thinking about it, talking about it, etc. But I also love that Lucy was like in the same spot that she was in the night before with her takeout container, and Tamara just comes out and she's like, so you've been up all night? Like, it was just a whole mood. And I feel like that's definitely, like, Lucy is the type of person, and I mean, she's kind of said this before, to where like she gets really like into something and just like it dives deep into it. So it was kind of cool to see, and like it was just a little nugget of her character, like personality and character traits that we got to see with that. So and then, like, you know, Lucy tells Tamara, like, you know, all about her day with the Tyler case and all of that. And it's just like, it's all mom like her wanting to know about Tamara's day, and Tamara's like, oh, you know, nothing really happened. And I know that I've said it before, but like her and Lucy, Tamara and Lucy have like such a motherly, like sisterly bond. And it's just so like perfect and wholesome to see, because we don't see a lot of like, we see their personal lives, but like it's overshadowed too by their time at the district. So like when we see their personal lives and see them at home, like it's just even more special. And then, like, you know, in the episode we see Lucy, you know, like starting her day at the district, and she calls Chris a clown. And at first, on my first watch, I didn't catch that. I think I was just like still in my fields about the Lucy and Tamara stuff. But like on my second rewatch, I was like, well, if only she knows what Tim is going to be doing, you know, what we can assume is the next day, or like a few days
later. I don't know.
But then, like, I don't know, I just, like I said, I loved the whole like Lucy and Tamara stuff. And I loved when like Tamara compares her and Tyler, saying that it wasn't long ago that she was as desperate as he was, and that the smartest thing she's ever done was steal Lucy's car. And you know, it's just like there's similarities there, but we don't know how similar they are, because we still don't know a lot about Tamara. And so then Lucy's just like telling Tamara, you're cute, before she leaves. And it's just such a mom thing. And like, good Lord, I love it so much. Please, like, just get Tim in there and you've got perfect family scenes. And so then like Lucy is walking up to Chris at the district, and she just has like such a smug look. And it's a whole power move of her like walking up to him with the smug look on her face. And she's like, listen, this is what's happening. And she wants Chris to charge Tyler as a minor. And, you know, even though he committed a crime with a gun, it was unloaded. So she, you know, goes into her advocate mode for Tyler. And then she starts talking about like what studies show, and he stops her right there. And he's just like, I don't want to hear quotes about studies. And I don't want to hear you lecturing me about the science of still developing brains of men under 21. And her quiet little, I wasn't going to do that. Like his chuckle, they're adorable, and I'm loving it. Like, I'm here for a little fling or a little like hookup, whatever. I know that they're not going to be end game, but like, I kind of want to see what happens on this double date. Like, see if they have any like cute bantering moments. And Tim just like catches on, and he's like, oh no, this cannot happen.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just like, maybe it's just because I enjoy when Lucy advocates for like and brings the psychology part into it, and Chris was like not having it, and I'm just like, okay, you can go. Like, I'm not here for it. Like, I don't, unless he's like a complete gentleman on this date or something and is just like listening intently to everything Lucy has to say and gives her a look that rivals the one Tim gives her every day, then I'll be on, then I, might be able to get me on board. But he's got to apologize first for being a total jerk.
What if like Chris and Tim like have this like argument kind of where they're like going back and forth and Lucy's like, oh, okay, like what do I do here? And like her and Ashley give each other a look of like,
oh god,
all right, what's going on here? But only Lucy can break it up because she knows how Tim is.
oh god.
You're gonna have a fun 2 weeks dealing with me.
I'm still just like, yeah, I'm still just curious as to why they put Tim and Lucy next to each other on this double date that they're gonna have in 2 weeks.
You know what? It probably just has to be like for angles.
I mean, maybe
like for camera placement and stuff. But yeah, so then like Lucy starts to get like heated up when Chris is like, well, Tyler can become a CI and go against this crew. And then she's like, and basically risk his life on the streets versus in jail. Okay. And Tim just comes in as Lucy starts to like go off on Chris. And he just kind of has a confused look on his face. Like, what am I walking into? And should I turn around right now? But Tim's just asking like if everything's okay. And, Lucy gets all sassy and calls Chris a rookie ADA. I mean, I just love that they threw a rookie in there. I don't know why, but I just do. I love it. So then Chris is like, well, Lucy's clearly feeling a little dramatic this morning. And I don't know. I was just like, that might not have been the best word to use. Like, I don't know. I just feel like you never call a woman dramatic. Like, you just don't. There's other words, like maybe passionate, concerned, whatever. But like, I don't know. He says that and him and Tim like look at each other and Tim kind of nods in a way. Like, that's the only way that I can describe it. And then Chris just leaves and Lucy's pissed and like turns back to Tim to vent. And Tim's like, how many cups of coffee have you had? And she's like, I'm so sorry. I'm going to apologize to you right now. And he's just like automatically done with her. Like, he just like rolls his eyes and just like walks away.
It's so funny. I related to Lucy so much in that scene though, because like I am quite the dramatic person and I'm routinely over caffeinated. So
I just love their dynamic. Like, he just like makes it seem like he's done with her, like, and has had like enough of her antics, but then like he is never completely done with her. Like, he loves her for everything that she is.
Right.
I just love it. So then we see Angela is on the crime scene, and Chenford rolls up, and it turns out that the DOA is a friend of Tamara's. So then we get the best Chenford parent moment there ever was. And Chenford's,
so
It's
so good.
It literally, like, at this point in the episode, I was at my limit. Like,
I was not expecting it. So
I could not function anymore. I was sitting there and I was like, what am I watching right now? Like, what did I do to deserve this? So Chenford like goes into Lucy's apartment. Tim's behind her, closes the door. I was like, this is like husband and wife shit right here. And Tim just like immediately asks how she wants to handle this. And I was just like, I'm sorry, but all that I see is Chenford parents. Like, concern Tim for Lucy because she's never had to do a death notification for someone close to her. And that's like his pseudo daughter in there, who just lost her friend and like she has no idea. And so obviously he doesn't know how to handle this, but he's just like, well, I'm here if you need me. And he just tells her to like go in and be a friend, and if she needs a cop to tag him in. I don't know why, but my mind like went to good cop, bad cop. Like, when someone's in trouble, like if your kid is in trouble or something and like, the parents like play both sides. Yeah, I don't know why, but I went there. So like Lucy knocks on Tamara's door and, she just like cuts right to the chase. telling Tamara that her friend Becca was found dead, and Tamara doesn't believe her. She's even like gonna go call her, but Lucy mentions the photo on her phone, and then Tamara's eyes get all glassy, and at this point, like, I just wanted to wrap her into a giant hug. Like, if we hurt Tamara anymore on this after this episode on this show, like, I'm rioting, because she does not need to be hurt. We do not need to hurt her. And so then, like, Lucy and Tamara are talking in the kitchen after, like, Lucy tells her everything, and Tim is right there because why not? And again, Chenford parents, they're literally like, he is behind the girl, he is behind them. They're sitting next to each other at the breakfast bar thing. It's just like chef's kiss right here. So then Tamara says that Becca never mentioned anyone that like she was scared of, but they hadn't talked in almost 3 months. And she just got busy with school and moving in with Lucy that she kind of like lost track. So then Tim finds out, like, he tries to find out if she was crashing anywhere specific, but Tamara just says like she must have lived on the street, and there was a shelter that sometimes had room, and a couple of kids who had families who would let you sleep on the floor every now and then. But she says, like, if you were desperate enough, there was always swiping. And Chenford just like looks at each other and they're confused.
Like for once Lucy didn't know what Tamara was talking about.
Well, and Tim was just like, I don't know what this is. Like, they were so concerned and confused. And again, I was like at my limit at this point. I was like, okay, what is going on? So then apparently swiping is when you go on Clip Talk and you just swipe until you find someone to hook up with. Mm-hmm. And like, I don't know. When I heard that it was Clip Talk, I was like, okay, wait. The last few episodes ago, they had Smitty like wanting to go viral on Clip Talk, which to me is like TikTok because it was like videos, memes, whatever. But now like she's swiping, like, is Clip Talk like a combination of Bumble and or like Tinder and TikTok? Because that's what it seems like.
I mean, it's probably their like all in one kind of social media app, maybe. I don't know.
It was just interesting. And then I noticed on my second rewatch that like when Tim finds out, like, you swipe until you just find someone to hook up with, he's like out of focus, but like you see his like stance and his like demeanor change, and he just like kind of like stands up straighter, and then like, I don't know, like it's hard to explain. It's nothing really softening, but like he's still got his arms in front of him, but like, on the inside that it was just killing him to hear this.
Yeah.
Because
and I always wonder if like yeah. Well, and I always wonder if like, I mean, I doubt this is the reason. I don't know if just because like Eric has kids of his own, so it's just like anything with like, I don't know, because like if I was like a parent in real life having to like act out like these like conversations about things happening to like kids, I would just be like, oh, I'd be like sad.
Like, even though that they're not real, like that the cases aren't, like, like it would still hit you different.
Yeah. So I don't know, or just like, I mean, or maybe it is just him thinking like, well, if I ever had kids one day, I would not want any of this to happen, so it's like, I don't know, is it just hitting him? Well,
even like Lucy kind of realizes it, and like her face just says it all, like, that Tamara could have been involved with all of this. And so then, like Tamara says, if you're lucky, you might even get a warm shower and a meal when it's all over. And like the camera just focuses on Lucy for a minute, and you can just see the pain in her eyes, like thinking about Tamara doing that, thinking about Tamara being in that situation, like, that hurt her. And then like after Tamara says all of that, Tim's just like, yeah, we got to stay focused. Like he says that they need a list of the guys that Becca met up with, and Tamara's like, I think I can get into her account and pull the names. So then like it pulls Lucy out of her thoughts after a minute, and she's brought back on the job. So then Chenford gets a PDF of Becca's Clip Talk account, and it looks like she was hooking up with like 4 different guys, but there's no evidence in the DM. So like indicating if they were going to hook up or not. So then Tim notices that Lucy isn't herself, and she says that Tamara knew about the whole like swiping thing. And this is like the point where my heart like sank for Lucy, because she asks Tim if he thinks that she ever did that before her and Lucy met. And Tim's just like, well, has she mentioned it to you? And Lucy said, as close as they are, there's a lot of stuff that Tamara won't talk about. And Tim just like tells her to not take it personally. She could just have a hard time opening up to Lucy. You could even kind of see that like he was talking from experience there.
Mhm.
And it's another Chenford parent moment. Like, it's just so pure. And honestly, like, this isn't even about like just Chenford the ship now. Like, it's about Chenford parents. I don't know. I would just like to formally thank Alexi Hawley for giving us the superior ship that is Chenford, and like the storylines that came from it. Because we've gotten blessed in season 4.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Melissa and Eric are the ones that made it like happen.
Like what
I
it
don't think
is.
anyone would have thought, pilot Chenford
No.
would be where they are now. So
I love when ships start like that too. Like it's the actors who kind of, like
yep.
steer it.
Chemistry and all that.
Mm-hmm.
God bless their friendship, and we just love them.
Yes.
So
So then, so Angela's like interrogating a guy named Martin who was DMing Becca on Clip Talk. And, he was looking for sex, and they've been hooking up like every now and then in exchange for letting her sleep on his bed. So it all checks out with what Tamara was saying. And Martin's just wondering like what Becca's saying. Like, he stands up for himself and basically saying the girl is homeless. She's unstable. She's probably on drugs. Like, and then Angela's like, well, she's dead. So, like you're on the hook for her murder. And Martin is just like, well, I was at home the night before, and we find out that Becca did go over there, but only for a few minutes. He said that she was around there. She was there around 8ish, which doesn't match with the time that like she was killed. And so then Angela wants to know what Becca wanted, and he told her that she wanted a place to sleep and shower. And then she had threatened to tell his girlfriend about his actions if he didn't give her money. So then he says that all he had was a $20 bill. But then he realized that like she stole his Sirius watch that cost him like $10,000. So he couldn't file a police report though, because then he'd have to explain what happened to what happened. And so Lucy's like, well, we didn't find a watch on her body, so whoever killed her had to have taken it, or she sold it. So then they find out that like there is a pawn shop that Tamara and Becca have used before, and Tamara meets with Declan, who is also another friend of hers, and he tells her that like Becca talked about Tamara all the time, wondering what she was up to. They were all so proud of her, and so Tamara's just like kicking herself because she wasn't good about staying in contact. So then Chenford like rolls up to the homeless. Would you call it a homeless encampment?
yeah, that's a good word.
Yeah, I didn't know what else to call it. And so then Declan just like gets nervous, and like right then we should have probably figured out. I mean, I don't think I did.
I did not either.
That he was like guilty, because like when people squirm around the cops, it's usually, I guess, sometimes means that they're guilty. But yeah, Tamara's like, no, they're cool. Like, it's fine. Which, like, I don't know. To me, they seemed very far away for her to know instantly that it was like Chenford. But
yeah, I was trying to look because like aren't the shops like numbered? Like I didn't know if they had a specific shop that was theirs, but I couldn't really tell because I was just focused on like Tamara's like, no, they're cool. Like her parents are cool. It's fine.
Yeah. Oh my God. I'm a wreck here. So then they ask, like, they get out of the car, they ask her if she knows what Becca would have done with the watch. And Lucy tells her, like after Tamara tells them, Lucy's like, are you okay here? Because she kind of notices that Tamara is like a little freaked out. And she just walks away, and like Lucy looks on worried. And again, another like concerned mom Chen moment that I just need to appreciate more. So then Chenford walks into the pawn shop, and Tim just gets right down to business. And the owner says that like he helps these kids out from time to time because, they have nothing else. Like they've no one else watching out for them. So then Lucy shows Becca's picture to him, and he asks if she's dead. And so then right away he just like gives up Declan that like bought the watch or sold the watch. And so then I don't know, I loved this part. Well, I didn't love that like Tamara was upset, but like I loved how they executed it. Like Declan was telling Tamara everything that was going on, like his reasoning, all of that. And Chenford was driving. We saw them like going over the two-way, and
it paralleled to 11.
Yes.
Which hurt me a little, but I appreciated it because we hadn't had a voiceover silence type scene in a long time.
It was just really good. I love that stuff. I love when we get to see like different, like two different points of view going on at the same time. So then we find out that Becca was going to use the money for the watch and go back to school. But Declan didn't like that she was going to leave him too. So when she went to sleep, he tried to steal the watch, but like she freaked out when she woke up and saw him there. So he pushed her, she fell, and then there was a lot of blood. And so at this point, like Tamara just like gets up. She's like, I don't know what to do here. And Chenford rolls up, they draw their guns and arrest him. And Tamara's face when this goes down, oh my God, give Dylan all of the awards. Like she killed it in this episode. And Lucy just asks if she's okay, and she like falls into her arms, just hugging her. And it's just so good. Like I said, give Dylan all of the awards. So then we see Chris meeting up with Lucy like after their shift is done, and he's telling her that he has good news, and that he convinced his boss to cut a good deal for Tyler, and he won't be charged as an adult. He's got 6 months in juvie and then probation until he turns 18. And so then Chris is like, I think we're working towards the same goal, we're just coming at it from different angles. And then like he looks at her and she looks back at him, and they're faint smiles. And I don't know. And then like she left, and he just like kept looking on at her. I don't know. I feel like next episode when Tim sets them up on that date, Chris is going to develop something if it's not already developing, or like he's going to realize a little something, like a little feeling, like some feelings or something. And then he's also going to realize that like Lucy is already taken by Tim, and it's just not like official.
I appreciated his line of like that they're working towards the same goal, just coming at it from different angles. Like that was a somewhat like redeemable line for him. I'm still looking for that apology.
Yeah.
Before I can completely get on board, but I'll just be interested to see how the double date goes. So
then Lucy checks in on Tamara at home, and they talk, and then we had to pull the audio for it because it's just perfect, and it's another wonderful mom Chen moment to end the episode of The Rookie on, and we just need more mom Chen and Tamara. So here it is.
You sure I can't make you something? I'm not really hungry. Today sucked.
Yeah, big time.
Thank you for everything. For all your help. for this bed, for getting justice for Becca.
You did that.
And thanks for helping me leave it all behind. Because if it weren't for you, I probably would have ended up like Becca eventually.
You don't have to worry about that anymore. You're safe. Do you want to talk about what you went through when you were living on the street?
Not now. That's okay.
Yeah, you don't have to talk about it now. You don't have to talk about it with me. But at some point, you might want to talk to someone before it sneaks up on you.
I will. I promise.
Okay.
So then Lucy, like after they have their little talk, tells her sweet dreams, and she's like, do you want this door open or closed? And again, it just made the Mom Chen and Tamara moments like that much better. Like hearing that, I was like, oh my God, they are such mother-daughter here.
Yep. Yeah, I just enjoy. So the fandom is essentially Mom Chen is like Mom Lucy Chen, and then Dadford is Dad Tim Bradford, and it just cracks me up so much. Like we were fully immersed in this like found family trope, but then also
They have a dog, they have a child, like it's perfect.
Well, and they've talked about like
future children
kids and family, yeah. So it's like, wow.
I just know that when Chenford like finally gets together, the fandom will combust.
Yeah.
Like Twitter might actually break that day from the rookie fandom.
Probably.
But yeah, that was it for the Chenford Tamara stuff. I just hope that we see more of Tamara. Like we haven't seen her in a while until this episode, and we definitely needed it.
Yeah, I agree. There was a lot for both Nyla and Aaron in this episode, which was like a nice like balance for like the Nolan of it all and everything. Like I don't know, it was just nice to kind of have these like side plots that focused on these characters. So like I loved that we got an actual Nyla and James like couple moment.
In the morning scene, yes.
Yeah. It was so good because like we find out that they spent the night together, and like now they're up in the morning having coffee. And even James is like, I love how we're doing couple things in the morning before work. And it's like, I'm pretty sure the rest of the fandom agrees with you, sir. Like,
yes,
we enjoy seeing Nyla Harper happy, and
we want more of it, please.
Yep. Oh, I missed this line too. Nyla's like, who knew we had to share custody schedules before we hooked up?
Like, did I miss it, or was it mentioned that James had kids or something?
I don't know.
Because when we met James, then we like it wasn't long after that we met Alonzo. So I was like, am I getting them mixed up? But I know Alonzo was from Lila's school.
Yeah.
I don't know. It could have just been like Nyla saying that about her and Donovan.
Yeah, I would think so, maybe. I'm assuming that's what she meant by it, but yeah. I kind of missed that like inference too. James unfortunately has to like cut this a little bit short though, because he has to go have a talk with Curtis Jones, who we met last episode, about Tyler, because James has to convince Curtis to like cut his losses and like let everything go with like harassing Tyler's family about payment. Nyla wants to go with James, but he's like, no, I got this handled. I just like You can't really tell Nyla that she can't do something though, because she's gonna go and do it anyway. Which
Yeah,
I
like you're really
appreciate.
telling me that she can't protect the man that she loves.
Yeah. hmm Because James is like, if they get word that there's a cop, they'll stop trusting him. And she's like, I hate to break it to you, but you're also dating a cop, so that's going to get around. It was so good. Like, and they're happy and they're coupley and they're cute.
There were a few moments during this episode, not just a few, actually every moment that was like Chenford or Nyla and James, that I was like, I love this. I don't know what I did to deserve it, but I love all of this pure soft content that I'm getting.
Yeah. And I just like I appreciated the fact that he was like, well, if he loses the trust of the community, he'll never get it back. Like he's so concerned like outwardly, and then she's like balancing it out with her like inward concern of like just of him. And yeah, she's like, I hear you, but I don't like it. And yeah, her line of if something were to happen to you, I'd be sad for at least a couple days. Like it's fun, it's flirty,
It's also Nyla.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I love it. I loved that she was like walking with her arm in his, like down the street. It was just so cute. Like, we need more of these Nyla moments. Like, I love her sassiness, but I also love when she's just like soft and like her like self outside of work, like because she has to put on that like tough exterior, and she kind of has that tough exterior like when she's not on the job, but like she's more, I don't know, just like caring and like charming's not the right word, but like she's just more like, I don't know, comfortable like when she's not at work. I don't know if I just explained that right, but yeah, you get me.
Yeah, no, I mean that makes sense. Yeah, because it's just like, well, like she had said in the like the little recap that they do, like the previously on the rookie, like she's in a good place, and I feel like that's like reflective in the differences that we see.
Yeah.
So, I enjoyed seeing it's Aaron's mom, Yvonne. I'm hopefully going to say the actress's name right. She was on Rebel, which is another ABC show that was canceled too soon.
And she was on Castle.
Yes, that's true. She was on Castle as well. But yeah, Tamala Jones portrayed Aaron's mom, and yeah, like when she showed up at the district, I agree with you, Jennifer. You have in your notes here, you're like, I don't know who I thought she would be, but I definitely didn't think she was like a mom either. Like I kind of thought that like, well, when they were talking about the reality show, like I thought she was just like solely a part of that. Like I didn't think she was like gonna be
like related to him.
Yeah, like I don't know.
Well, and so she wasn't in the episode description, because I like went back and I was like, okay, did we just like miss her being in the episode description? But no part of Aaron's storyline was in the episode description. Like not the not the reality TV producer, not her, no one. So it was just like,
right.
Okay, like why did we not mention them? And then we saw them in the promo photos, but it wasn't like a good shot of them, like face on, I don't think. So I was just kind of like, I didn't think of like who they were gonna be. I thought it was just gonna be like some case that Nyla and Aaron were
Right,
working,
I did
but
too. Yeah, I definitely was not expecting to meet someone of Aaron's family.
Mhm.
Oh my god. I Absolutely. Like, okay, because she's like, so obviously, as we mentioned, the reality show, like, that's why she's there. They had talked the night before about, and she was trying to get him to agree to do the reality show. And he's like, no, not gonna do it. Um, and she's like, but you're not thinking it through. It'd be like a good opportunity and all this. Um, oh my God, Nyla walking up. They had this a couple times in the episode because, like, we had Tim walking up when Lucy and Chris were talking, and then Nyla walking up when Aaron and Yvonne were talking, and she's like, "What's the problem?" Um, and they were in the middle of their like discussion. Aaron and his mom were, and I think he said something. It was like, "Hell no, I'm not doing that," or something. Like, I don't know, something like with a curse word that was kind of a little bit like harsh or whatever. And Nyla's like, I know you did not just speak to your mother in that tone. Um, and she's like, ma'am, I am Nyla Harper. I am his training officer. And if he does not apologize to you right now, I am going to like fail him for the day. Or write him up, excuse me, for conduct unbecoming of an officer. And so Aaron's kind of like, oh, okay. Apparently I'm going to do this now. And so he does apologize. Um, and Nyla, or like, Aaron's mom really seemed to be a fan of Nyla off the bat. So, it was just kind of an interesting scene. Like, now that everyone knew who Aaron's mom was, it was an interesting trio to have a scene for. So it works.
Yeah. I need more scenes of them.
Yeah. I hope they do explore this more. Like I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be. I mean, I'd almost rather like to see more of Aaron's mom than like the reality show.
Oh yeah.
Like portion. Yeah. So Aaron is still like, he doesn't want to be a part of the reality TV show. She claims that it's going to help him. He claims that it's going to disrespect the memory of Patrick, trivialize the time he spent in prison. I did appreciate though that she was like, well, this way, like if they decide to do it, then like they can control the narrative. And I did like that he acknowledged that she'd been by his side through everything. Cause I didn't want him to like completely write off his mom, because I feel like he doesn't have a lot of people in his corner, and so the fact that like he did have a family member like support him, I thought was nice.
Yeah.
But his answer is still no to doing the show. And later on, we see that Nyla asks Aaron what the deal is with his mom. And he's like, it's a long story. And Nyla's like, yeah, well, this is what, like what stakeouts are made for. But Aaron doesn't really budge on talking about it. And it was a nice, like, prelude to like them eventually opening up to each other, which I enjoyed seeing in this episode.
I love their dynamic. Like, I put it in the outline as like they have like I don't know, it's more of like a big sister, big like little brother dynamic, I feel like. And I feel like it was kind of similar to how Angela and Jackson were. Like, not in season 1 for Angela and Jackson, because she was like harsh on him. Obviously, she should have been, because she was his TO. But like, as the seasons went on, and like in season 3, I'm remembering 309 like more so than the others, where it was like, I don't know, they were friends. They were like, like they were close. So I don't know. I feel like we're getting that with Nyla and Aaron, and I hope that we get to see more of it. I want to know why Aaron is not a regular character on this show. Like he's just a guest star, and he is the rookie on a show titled The Rookie. Like it only makes sense to have him be a regular.
Mhm.
Like, can we start a petition for that, please? Because we need to see more of his dynamic with Nyla and the rest of the characters.
Yes, I agree.
But Nyla, you know, like when they're on the stakeout, she's just like, well, we're keeping an eye on a friend, which is James, while he meets up with Curtis. So then Aaron is trying to change the subject and she won't let him get away with it. He tells her that it's complicated and that she'll have to threaten him with a blue page if she wants him to say anymore. So she's like, copy that. Like, let's just focus back on what we're doing. So then Aaron catches on to who they're watching. And I don't know why, but like I love that he catches on to things like a little bit after the fact. And just like the way that he says it, he's like, oh, now it makes sense. Like, okay. And just like when him and Nyla were like the missing cops, like, I don't know. I just love how he like catches on. Like it takes him a minute to like realize, like, oh, this is what we're doing. I don't know. I just love him. And I love
He and
what he
John
brings.
would be interesting to pair up because Nolan's kind of like that too.
Oh, yeah.
Because Nolan would have these like, oh, I get it now. And then
Yeah.
like go into his, infinite wisdom.
Yeah, it
But
would be interesting.
still, it would definitely be interesting, especially since Aaron's the rookie, which is, Nolan's position, like central to the title.
Yeah.
So.
But then they see a kid jump out of a window and he's stealing a TV and then like a bag of stuff. And so Aaron's like, Harper, I assume we should stop him. And that part just like made me laugh. Like when I was watching it last night, I was like, I mean, I feel like that's a typical thing that a rookie would ask. Like, yeah. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me, because now this outs her to James and like he sees that she's been watching him. So then Aaron's like on the foot chase. He's getting close to, the kid who's stealing. And Nyla runs into a woman with a baby stroller. And Aaron just doubles back to make sure that she's okay. And then he's like, well, your injury is going to need stitches. Okay, I thought about this after the episode aired last night, and I was like, I find it incredibly ironic that she was injured by running into a woman who had a baby stroller, only to then find out that she's pregnant. I don't know. I just found that ironic. So, so then like she's at the hospital, and the doctor came back with her blood work, and just like wants to talk. And instantly when that happened, it was like, she's pregnant. Like, that's just how it is.
Yep. Same here.
And like, I don't know. I remembered the storyline from Chicago PD when they did it with Burgess. And then
they literally did it in the exact same way. So that's why I was like automatically like, oh yeah, she's pregnant. Like, you don't even have to tell me. I was just like, nope, that has to be it.
Well, and like when, because Kim was injured by like a fence on a case with a missing child. Like, I'm just like, you couldn't be any more like subtle about it.
There's the closest we'll come to Chicago PD, the rookie.
Yeah, pretty much. But then like other people were saying that like other shows have done this same exact storyline too, like how they find out. And so I was just like, I mean,
if there are more shows, do let us know, because I'm not familiar with any of the other shows that have done this before.
I mean, it makes sense because they do take your blood work, like, and you're, but then, so we find out that she is 6 weeks pregnant, and our jaws dropped, because then it like cuts to black and there's a commercial, and Nyla's like, are you sure about that? Okay. I just loved your tweet last night when you were like, Nyla's what now?
My jaw was dropped. I was like, oh, like I literally like not yelled, but I was just like, oh my God. Because it did cut to commercial and I was like, what?
I don't know why, but I wasn't really expecting that.
I wasn't either.
But I was like, okay. Yeah, so then Nyla and Aaron are like driving around after she gets out of the hospital, and Aaron points out a car who made an illegal turn. Like Aaron's driving, and he's like, so we should probably light him up, right? And Nyla's like, she's not totally there mentally, like she's not really,
Yeah.
she's paying attention, but she's also like in her own little world. And she
Right.
tells him, no, don't light up the car. And Aaron's like, something's up with this. Like,
I just literally like when I was watching this, I like had to pause so I could do these notes. And I noticed that there was like a sign for like road construction that was happening while they were driving, and it literally said like 11/7 from like 4 a.m. to 1 p.m. or something
mhm.
of like a street. So there's the like time frame of, even though it's supposed to be after Christmas
Okay,
or the holidays.
that's what I was gonna say earlier is so like their time frames are weird because like last episode we saw Tim punching in the security code, and at the bottom of the monitor it said December 13th because someone
Mhm.
pointed that out.
Mhm.
And
Well, I'm assuming, I mean, like showtime, yes, but just when they were filming this, they were
oh,
filming
oh,
in
oh,
November.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I just thought it was like, because that kind of gave it away as to where they, like when they were filming versus the showtime.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah,
it just
because I
made
was
me
like,
chuckle.
wait.
Sorry, no, yeah, it was just something silly I noticed.
Yeah.
It was kind of fun.
So yeah, so then she tells Aaron like right away that she's pregnant. And I just love that like she didn't even try and hide it. Like she was just like, I'm just gonna come out clean with it. So then she tells him like after her birth with Lila, she had some serious complications and was told that she couldn't get pregnant again. And she's just like, clearly I should have followed up with a specialist. Yeah, that might have been a wise choice, but I can see why she would have thought like, no, it's not worth it or whatever. So then like she seems skeptical kind of how James could take the news. And so then like when asked what she's going to do, she says avoid dealing with it until absolutely necessary. I mean, same. I would do
Yep.
maybe not the same thing with that situation, but like I do the same thing with other things. So
Yeah, her one-liners were definitely relatable in this
yeah.
episode.
So then Nyla and Aaron pull back into the district parking lot, and Aaron's like, yeah, you can't avoid this when they see James. So, and I just, again, have I mentioned how much I love this dynamic and that we need to see more of Aaron because it's true. Like, let's start a petition here to get Aaron, full-time character on the show. So then James walks up and he's just like, I'm going to lay out how I handle conflict, which is just going right at it. So he reiterates that like he asks her to step aside and let him handle the situation by himself. And he knows that she was only there in the case that like something would happen. But like, that's not the point. And so he made it clear that he wanted to do this alone and that she ignored it. And so then that's what like really makes him mad. I mean, rightfully so. Like, I would be annoyed too. So, and then he continues to go on about how they need to like trust each other, etc. I mean, I don't know. I thought about this on my second rewatch. I was like, trust. Yeah. Yeah. But then she drops the bomb on him that she's pregnant, and he reacts by saying, like, I can't tell if you're joking. And so, like, when she obviously doesn't show that she's joking, he just doesn't have a reaction. And yeah, I don't know. I was just like, okay, I mean, obviously he's in shock, but
I
still.
think the rookie account even retweeted a tweet that was like the like statue figure
Mhm.
and that was James.
Yeah.
Just, like standing, and I was like,
So then,
But they also retweeted your tweet about Chenford being parents going to check on
yeah,
their daughter. So that's going with that's canon too.
Yeah.
In the
and the rookie account believes that. So like, just give it to us already, please. So then Aaron like saves her, and it's just like, we got to go. My mom texted, she's not answering her phone. So they go to his mom's production studio to meet Morris Mackey, a reality TV producer. And he's just like, who is this? Like, like regarding Nyla, and she just retorts with annoyed. Again, mood and all of her one-liners are on point in this episode. So then like we cut away from the Aaron's mom storyline. And we see a Wesley and James bromance moment. And Wesley's like, congrats, man, you didn't waste any time. At which point I screamed because I was like, this baby is not his. Like, I don't know. I don't believe that the baby is James's.
Oh. Well, see, this is where the whole timeline gets, like, it would be nice to know
Tricky.
concrete what day it is.
Yeah.
After, like, the holidays, I would assume, or, like, within the holiday season.
Mm-hmm.
Because Halloween
was 6 weeks ago.
Well, to, like, right after, like, but if it's, like, after Christmas, and that would be, like, 8 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, because then, like, okay, so I think at this point of the episode, I was like, okay, I'm really focusing on this right now. Like, Oscar had said that the letter is what he got yesterday, which I think he just meant that as like, I don't know, it was just Oscar talking. And so then I was like, but are we to assume that this episode is taking place the day after last episode, which that date was December 13th on the alarm system, because someone had pointed that out. And then someone was like, and Tim has a Christmas wreath in his house, like on his door. So it's before Christmas at that point. But then someone also noticed in this episode, I like went down the rabbit hole. Like, I swear, someone noticed that John's Christmas tree was not up. So like, then it was a question of.
And then like last episode, Lopez's Christmas decorations were still up.
Yeah. So it's a question of
like after the holidays, but
like,
okay.
Was there 2 weeks or something between this episode and the last episode? Like, and all Christmas decorations were down? Because we saw the date on the security system. So like, and that was December 13th.
Oh God.
I don't know. It was just something like something wasn't adding up. But then I like looked at the calendar and I was like, well, Halloween was 6 weeks from December 13th. So there we go. I'm just like firmly believing that it's not James's baby. And she's going with that. Yeah. And she's going with it at this point, like, because she doesn't fully know. Because we also know that Alexi like hinted that there was going to be a triangle, like a love triangle, and like issues for Nyla regarding Donovan and James. So I don't know. I could see it.
The issue, yeah.
I don't know, but like I firmly believe that this baby is not James's.
Oh man. See, well, because I was going off of like the rookie following like current, like the actual time, like outside of the fictional universe being after the holidays. But if that's not the case, then what you're saying makes sense. That it would be.
See, like our other shows came back this week. And I feel like I noticed in Chicago Med that they still had like some Christmas decor up, because that episode took place the day after the last one would have aired or would have happened. So I don't know. I was just like really reading into it and I was like, this baby is not James's. And like at some point she's gonna figure that out.
Oh, I want it to be James's though, because he was so excited. Well, he like, okay, not like excited originally, but he finally got around to it and just. And their end scene was so nice. It has to be his. I refuse.
I know. But I'm like preparing myself for the worst. So yeah. I don't even know where I left off. Oh yeah, okay. So then I like got into my whole tangent. So then Wesley's like, well, how did you react? And James is just like, I didn't. So Wesley's like, well, it's time for a big gesture, dude. And you know, you got to max out your credit card. This bromance may just be my new favorite thing ever.
It's so funny because he was like laughing at James's predicament. And I'm like, dude.
And James is like, well, Nyla dropped the news in the middle of like an argument. And Wesley's like, yeah, Angela's done the same thing.
Yeah, an argument bomb. I'm like, what?
Like, I just need Wesley to give James all of the first time father advice. And I really need Angela and Nyla to like get together and just like talk
Mhm.
about everything now. Like, please. I just need it.
Yep.
So then, like at the end of the episode, Aaron's meeting up with his mom, telling her that like he'll do the show if she can promise that he'll have full control over pieces of his life that they expose. And so then, I don't know. I thought that it was like a real conversation, and
I
then
did
she yelled
too.
"cut" and told him that it sounded fake, and I was like, "What were we supposed to believe here?" Like, I don't like. Is he doing the show or was that just acting? Like, I don't know. So then,
I mean, I think it's they were filming that scene for the reality show.
mhm. So
Right.
then that's the end of the Aaron storyline for the episode. So then we go back over to Nyla and she's meeting James at the community center because he wanted to have a do-over of his reaction. And he doesn't like how he handled it. And she backs it up and she's like, yeah, you didn't do anything. You just stood there. So then he like pleads temporary stupidity. And then he gets down on one knee and my jaw dropped again. And I was like, he's not going to propose, is he? Like, I
You weren't the
legit
only
thought
one to
that.
think that apparently, because there were a few people that were like, "What is this one knee?"
I was like, you only get down on one knee if you're proposing, right? And I was like, would he? Because Wesley did say you had to do a big gesture and max out
Oh
your
my
credit
God.
card. So I was like, oh my God, is it happening? I was like, okay. So
Oh
then,
my
like, he
God.
throws himself at her mercy, and she's just like, get up, like, you're forgiven. And so then, like, oh my God, this line from her broke me. She was like, I need you to understand that I've made my peace with not getting pregnant again. But I'm gonna have this baby. And he's just like, well, we're gonna be a kick-ass team then and make sure that this baby lives in a better world than what exists now. And I was just like, yeah, that's it. I'm done. I'm done for. Like, I can't do it anymore.
Yep.
So yeah, that was it for the Nyla and James. I don't know. I think that they're almost like a Lopez 2.0, just without that like interrogation foreplay. Like, he's a community advocate, she's a cop, and she's pregnant now. Again, though, except I don't think that it's his baby, but we'll have to see. Um, but I don't like their storyline made up for the lack of Lopez in this episode,
Yeah.
which I'm all here for.
Hmm.
But yeah, that is it for the episode. We have some listener thoughts. Do you want to take Mindy's?
Sure. Mindy said that James is adorable, and that James and Nyla moments made up for no Lopez together. Um, she really hopes that Donovan doesn't mess things up for them. I hope so too.
Bonnie said she liked the balance in this episode, and the promo for sure. Yeah, there was talks about there not being balance in the previous episodes, like before this one, and how fans were hoping that it would come back. And I think it did a really good job of it.
Hmm.
And then she also said, what's the likelihood that the baby might end up being Donovan's? It's a possibility. She might be going with James for now until she knows, or Donovan keeps asking questions. She said she's not fond of the storyline though for Nyla. I don't know. Like I said, I don't think the baby is James's. I think it's Donovan's, but that's also just me trying to be like realistic, and then also me thinking the worst to in order to not get my hopes up. So yeah. And then she said, I'm excited to see how the Thorson storyline plays out. Now that Bailey's arc is over, like, do we think that she'll have a less of a main presence? I mean,
Oh,
probably not.
yeah. Oh, I was gonna say yeah. Um,
I don't know.
why do you
Like,
think not?
because he's a guest starring role. And I don't know. I follow True on Instagram and like
Oh, I thought she was asking about Bailey.
Oh yeah, no, I meant to break those up in the outline. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think Bailey's her arc is over, but I don't think she'll have less of a main presence in the show because she's a regular.
I mean, I feel like, well, like I just kind of thought like since they needed to wrap up this Jason storyline that like that's why it was kind of Nolan and Bailey, Nolan and Bailey, Nolan and Bailey for a while. At least like I don't know, just kind of a little bit more balanced. I don't know, would be nice to see.
Yeah. I don't think that she'll have like a huge presence, but I think we will get scenes of her and John together. I mean, it only makes sense.
Again,
They're
hopefully
a
a normal
couple.
date.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
So then Bonnie also said Chris earning brownie points with Lucy. And the fact that Tim asks her out for the next episode has her rolling. Literally same. Like when I saw that promo, I was telling you, like I literally could not function. I was like, what is going on? And then Bonnie also said more Oscar, please. Literally same. Like he is my favorite.
Yeah. Yeah. So true. At Just Pretend I'm Not Here on Twitter said that Oscar is awesome. They hope that this isn't the last time we see him. They said this is a case of an actor taking a role and just running with it. He steals every scene he's in. And of course, he ratted out Jason to Southern Front to save himself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love Oscar. Ricarda had said we need to see a face to Skip Tracer Randy's voice. I don't know. I think I said it last week. I feel like Skip Tracer Randy is Ray from Schitt's Creek. I know you haven't seen that show.
I have not.
But like he just has that like enthusiasm that I'm just like it has to be him, right? And then someone had responded to a tweet. Maybe it was when I did the rewatch this weekend. And they were like, it's this actor. Let me see if I can find it. It was like Flula Borg, a German actor. So I was like, oh, interesting. Okay. And I don't remember if he was listed, but he is a German actor. And then like he's also a voice actor, it seems like. Like he's done voiceovers and stuff. He was on Pitch Perfect 2 as Peter Kramer. Oh. And then it doesn't look like he's listed like as a role, but I'm also looking on his Wikipedia and that's not always the most, reliable. So and then Ricardo said, can Tim be in Lucy's apartment next time for a happy reason? Tim showed again his concerned husband mood. Yeah, I mean, I would just like a happy moment between them in her apartment or his, whatever. Like with Kojo, I'm cool with anything. Mm-hmm. And then she also said that Oscar is the funniest villain ever. He definitely is. And she said regarding the promo, the queen of sassiness is annoyed and her pregnancy is a nice surprise. Again, I just loved how she was like, it's the pregnancy hormones making me like cheerful, and that's annoying. But yeah.
Valerie said, she wonders how much of a jerk they intended Chris to seem with that Lucy is being dramatic line. She should have tore into him for that. She would have liked to see Tim step like in as well.
I thought for a minute Tim would.
Yeah. I kind of thought he would say something. Yeah, you guys know by now my opinion that I'm not a huge fan of Chris until he apologizes for being a jerk. So, yeah. But anyway, she actually liked this episode. It had a good balance. Really interested in seeing how Aaron's storyline plays out. I am too. Valerie also said, hoping Mikia is pregnant in real life, and they're forced to write this storyline. They already did, like having a pregnant cop storyline. Women can do other things. That is true.
So after I added that in, I was obviously rewatching the episode, and I was like, unless it's just my eyes deceiving me, it looks like she could be like in real life. But then I was like, I don't fully know, and I don't really want to speculate that. But I was like, it's possible.
Yeah, Mikia hasn't posted anything, so I'm just going with it's for the storyline. But I mean, yeah, I agree. Although, like I said, I think I said it with Angela's, when she had to like figure out a place to put like the breast milk. It's nice to see like women, at least on the shows that we watch, actually be able to have successful pregnancies and
successful families. We should even note.
Yeah.
Given this past week's Chicago PD.
Yeah. And I appreciate that it is like a, like women in the workforce being moms. But I also can understand, yes, women can do other things that don't involve having a baby.
Yeah.
I really wasn't expecting the Nyla pregnant storyline.
I feel like and again, I don't want to speculate, but I feel like Mikia has to be kind of, because I don't feel like they would have planned it with Angela just having a baby and like all of that. But then again, they very well could have, just because they wanted to have something with Donovan and James and Nyla and all of that.
Yeah, because like, why else would Donovan come back? You know what I mean? Because like he had already, I mean, yes, they're in this custody battle. I guess I should have prefaced with that. But just like, if he is gonna like, if we're gonna see him like on screen, then that would be a reason to get him back. Like,
yeah,
ASAP. I don't know. Don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, again, I don't really want to speculate. If she is pregnant, that's awesome. Congrats to her. But yeah, I don't know. And then Janine had sent us a DM last night, and she said, first, the promo for the next episode. Oh my God, so obvious that Ashley is on the phone with Tim, and she's guessing that she invites Lucy for dinner, and then she wants like Lucy to have a date so that Tim sees Chris. So Tim sees Chris and then asks Chris out for Lucy.
Oh, I forgot Tim is on the phone. He is on the phone with someone in the promo. Okay.
And then she asks, why does Ashley want Lucy on the date though? Is it just because she wants to see more of Tim's friends, or did she pick up on the tone of Lucy when they were on the phone and she was describing Kojo and comparing him to Tim? Like, does Ashley feel threatened? And is that why she does this double date? See, but I don't know, because then he mentions a fancy dinner.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, if it was like a fancy dinner and it was going to be Tim and Ashley, I don't think that she would have been like, let's just make it a double date. I don't think she would have. It's got to be like a work function or something. And then she also said, and why are Tim and Lucy on the same side of the table? You would think dates would want to be next to one another. We kind of talked about this earlier. I don't know. We have like different views on it.
Well, like I said, if it's a group thing, I understand it more. Of like, I think people should be next to each other if they're on a group date. I've just never.
Well, it also depends on how the table is, too.
Yeah.
Like how it's set up. Yeah, and so then she said, and also Nyla pregnant. This is gonna be funny. And she said, no, diving into last night's episode, Nyla being pregnant, did not see that coming, but in a way I did. And I have to admit the timelines in Rookie World would make sense for the 6 weeks to be Halloween. But in this episode at John's, the Christmas tree was already down. So it's after Christmas. This is where I got my notes from. So we have to see that lapse between December 13th and now. Yeah, those 2 weeks make a big difference. I don't know. I'm still thinking that it's from Halloween and they weren't careful or something. Because if she thought that she couldn't ever get pregnant again, I don't see her like taking birth control or something like just for the heck of it. You know, like she probably thought it's never going to happen. So I don't know. I am in the camp that it's Donovan's. Janine also said she really doesn't like Aaron's mother. She thinks that she's too pushy. And she doesn't think that this TV show would be a good idea for him. I don't know. I mean, it's nice to see more of Aaron. So I will take what I can get. And yeah, Janine said it'll be nice to see him more often in the episodes because he was really good last night. And then she said, I loved how, yes, it was a Balin preview, but the whole episode wasn't about them, which she enjoyed. She loved seeing Gray get into the action, and she liked seeing the friendship that's building between John and Wade. Same. I like how they haven't like pushed it onto us, because I think at the beginning of the show, like we kind of liked in a way that like Gray was roasting John, but over time, like they've grown closer and they've become more friendly, and the rookie isn't pushing that on us. Like it's just like thrown in there little bits and pieces. And she said, I really think it's the respect from the end of last season and the beginning of the season that the friendship has developed more. She also said, I'm glad that this Jason story is over with, and I'm glad that we got to see Oscar, the little convict, actually helped out. I loved that line that she said. She also said, I still love the fact that James is honest with Wesley and told him about Nyla, and Wesley's reaction was hysterical. She loves the budding bromance of them, and that, you know, James is going to have to spend a paycheck on groveling. And then, yeah, she just said that she's glad that James stepped up and loves the fact that, like, he, you know, was like, I can have baby, and, you know, hopes that everything goes well. And then she also said, I hope when she has a scan that they don't see that she's farther along than they think, because then it would be a possibility that it's Donovan's. And I don't know, I could see that and then it hurting James, but who knows? And then she said, and now my favorite subject is Chenford. And she said, I just love how they get along with and know each other so well, especially in the beginning of the episode when he asked her how much coffee she had, and she just looks at him and is like, I'm gonna apologize right now. She also loved how Chris and like how Tim went up to Chris and Lucy, and he just wanted to make sure that everything was all right. And then for him just being there for her, like, because, you know, she was so worried about Tamara, and just like what could have happened to her if she was still on the streets. And then she said, oh my God, silent Chenford on the way to arrest Declan as he was confessing to killing Becca killed her. It gave her heart palpitations, like hoping that they would get there in time. I don't know. I didn't think that anything was going to happen like between Declan and Tamara.
I didn't either, because he didn't seem like a
violent person, really.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then she said Tamara going into Lucy's arms had her sobbing, especially at the end, Tamara thanking Lucy for her life. Verdict still out for her life. The verdict is still out on Chris, though. He seemed genuine at the end. And she thinks that like he's surprised to Lucy. She also said that Lucy gave him a little smile and bye at the end, so maybe, just maybe, something will happen. And she said, we will get a jealous Tim, though, if he sees them in the future flirting, especially in 412. We could, and maybe that's why, like, he sets them up because he sees that there's possibly something there.
Yeah. I just want to know why Chris looks over at Tim, because if you base it just off the shot of like Eric and Melissa, it's like Lucy looked like she was like trying to bite her tongue, and then Tim kind of looked from Ashley over to Chris, almost as if like I don't know if like someone like tried to make a joke about them or like about him or something, and he was just like, wait, no. And it's like if it's Lucy trying to be funny, then maybe Chris would be like, well, why is she trying to do that like with Tim or something? Like I don't know, or just like they'll see their banter obviously and know that like they're so in sync.
Yeah, I don't know. I still think that there's something that like you know, one of them says, and Chris is just like, how would he know that about her or something? But like he has to realize that they're partners too, like they know a lot about each other. So I don't know, we'll see. We shall see. Yeah, so that's it for this episode. It was a nice episode, had balance, and there was a lot going on still. So yeah, that's it. But you guys can find us on Twitter at the Shop Talk Pod _ or email us at shoptalktherookiepodcast@gmail.com with all of your thoughts. If you guys are watching other shows, let us know. We, between the two of us, we have a wide variety of shows that we watch. Pretty much anything from like sitcoms to true crime. So we can talk all day about TV. And then, you know, if you guys see any news, feel free to send that our way as well. You can find us individually on Twitter as well. I'm at jstark804.
And I'm at Carrie Hyman.
And that's it for us. We'll be taking another week off just because we need some time to catch up, and real life is requiring some extra attention from us this week. So that's it from us, but we'll be back on the 24th, or I'm sorry, the 25th with a recap of 412. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Go get him, boo.